My husband, 58, and I, 56 female, recently met my son's 24 girlfriend for the first time. He's been crazy about her. Apparently, they'd been dating for a year before he decided to have her meet us officially. What he's told us about her all seems great. She just got her degree, was enjoying her job, is family-oriented, etc. I'm honestly just glad he's happy with her. My husband and I don't think he's ever been this into someone, so I feel bad about what I did. Last weekend, he brought her over for dinner. By now, we'd been anticipating meeting her with how much our son has been gushing about her. In his words, how perfect she is, that she's the one. So they ring the doorbell. We open the door. She looks exactly like her pictures, which is a great start. My son is grinning ear to ear. Another great start. We invite them in. She accepts my hug and a firm handshake from my husband, and then she opens her mouth. "Hi, I'm the one your son bangs every night." To be frank, I was appalled. I expected my husband to laugh. He and my son are jokesters, and as annoying as it can be, I love it. But this was just too much for me. Maybe I'm reserved, but of all things she could have shared about my son, she told us that? One look at my face and my husband knew how much I disapproved. Maybe I let my expectations get too high, and it's unfair to have them, but I reiterate, of all things to say to her boyfriend's parents, whom she'd never met, she chose that? My son was initially amused, but his face dropped when he noticed my reaction. I felt like he'd sold me the full package, everything he'd always wanted in a girlfriend. I was too disturbed by the visuals it put in my head, which translated into anger. I told her to get out, and I wanted to say more about how gross it made me feel, but I fortunately left it at that. My son didn't want to go, insisting I give her another chance, but I was too fed up and uncomfortable. Even my husband, who's enjoyed his fair share of raunchy jokes, wouldn't let up. They left, and I immediately felt guilty. This was something my son had really looked forward to, and I feel like I took that away over a dumb joke. I tried calling to apologize, but he hasn't responded. My husband thinks she's the one who should apologize. I'm considering giving her another chance, but before I do, was I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm pretty liberal and open-minded, but geez, I'd never lead with that meeting my boyfriend's parents for the first time. Or say that ever. Like, seriously? You open the door and that's what flies out of her mouth? Was she nervous? Did she seem embarrassed at all? Did she try to apologize? Is there anything that could explain her inappropriate outburst? You apologized. Wow. Hats off to you. Right? Me and SO can be inappropriate as heck, but to come out with that the first time you meet the parents? Geez. If she doesn't call back to apologize or explain, if there's anything to explain, I hope your son dumps her. And also, good riddance. It's more than what she said if you apologized. It's also about her desire to meet you in the middle, the mother of the boyfriend she loves. Grace goes both ways. You extended yours by apologizing. If she was offended, she should do the same. And she's not a teenager, college graduate with a real job. What was she thinking? This just doesn't sit right. You said your son was all big smiles and amusement when they arrived, and up until your son realized you weren't all that impressed. You also said he jokes around like that with his dad. So what are the chances it was your son's idea all along, and she just regretfully went along with it? Because if that's the case, you probably can't get a hold of him because he's doing damage control with his girlfriend, who's now mortified and angry that a super funny joke gave you the worst impression of her that she could imagine. Dude, seriously, this is the very first thing I thought here. OP's son might be a DEFCON level 1 idiot, and his girlfriend has probably torn him a new idiot 5 times over by now. Oh my God, I am curious to see any apology or explanation from the son. I hope jokesters and pranksters learn that this stuff is unwelcome or funny most of the time. Update. This honestly wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not gonna lie. I'd be disappointed in him. That's not something he'd ever say directly because he knows I'm not a fan of any personal jokes of that nature. So to make his girlfriend say it wouldn't be very good. And I'd hope that if that is the case, that he makes it up to her somehow. I don't think I gave her enough time to react properly, and I regret that. She was frozen in shock and kept looking at my son to try to convince me not to kick her out. She wasn't sure what else she could say at that point. I'll try to reach out again to let them know we can try again. The possibility of him setting her up makes me feel 1,000 times worse. My husband and I have 4 kids: Layla, young female teen; Maria, mid-female teen; Jessica, female 18; and Paul, male 22. But this story's mostly about the younger two. There's this restaurant, a little over an hour away, that we visit on special occasions. We went for Maria's birthday yesterday, and partly because we had family in town. I want to state that this is not her birthday dinner, and she knows that. We have reservations for her favorite restaurant the day after her birthday. This restaurant has a thing where if you go within a week of your birthday, you can spin a wheel for a prize. Jessica had just spun the wheel a few months ago and got a cup, and Layla's been talking about wanting one since then. Toward the end of the dinner, Layla asked the server if she could spin the wheel and said it was her birthday. The server asked for some ID, and she told him her age and said, "I don't have an ID." They agreed to let her spin the wheel. After the server left, Maria blew up at Layla, calling her a witch and saying she was about to ask if she could spin the wheel, but forgot her learner's permit at home. But now she can't ask because they're not going to believe that excuse twice from one table. I tried telling her to calm down, but she said fine. But if we go in September, Layla's birthday, I'm taking her spin. I told her she was being immature and that it was just a stupid wheel, but she tried to walk out of the restaurant. Layla won a free dessert, and since it was her birthday, we all sang happy birthday to her, except Maria, who started crying and left the restaurant while we were singing. When we left the restaurant and found Maria still crying outside, my nephew and his wife took her out for dessert and didn't include any other kids. Even though Maria got her dessert, she's still mad at her little sister and insisting that she should be grounded. My nephew, and especially his wife, are on her side and want to take her out again today without her sister. Am I the idiot for not grounding her or making her give up her dessert? Wow, you sang happy birthday to your Layla after all of that? After she co-opted Maria's birthday? What the absolute heck? I can't believe how cold and heartless you are to your own child. You clearly have a favorite child, not the birthday girl. You are the idiot. Seriously, my reaction to that part was also, what the heck? I'm 22, and I would still be hurt if my teen sister did that to me and my parents went along with it. It's not about the free dessert. It's about blatant favoritism on a night that should be about Maria. You are the idiot for spoiling your younger daughter, raising an entitled brat, and encouraging her to lie. Why wouldn't you punish your child for lying for personal gain? Here's an idea. Stop raising entitled brats. That's exactly what you're doing with your youngest, and you should be ashamed that someone else had to get Maria her birthday dessert because Layla is so incredibly selfish. I've never wanted to tell someone to screw off as much as I want to say it to you. You don't see how Maria could be hurt because someone else took all her birthday fun? She got her free spin taken, her dessert, and her birthday song ripped out of her hands. I hope your nephew and his wife take the poor girl back to this restaurant on her birthday so she gets a chance to spin the prize wheel. And they take her without your monster child. She would probably try to steal a free spin again. I, 40 female, have 4 kids with my husband, 45. My parents, 56 male and 56 female, had me young. I lived with my grandparents, Dad's parents, while they were in college. Eventually, they settled down and had other kids, much younger than me. The second youngest child, my youngest sister, is 22 and is getting married this summer. Despite our age gap, I've always been close to my siblings and excited about my sister's wedding, but a recent argument has caused some issues for us. Our teen son, Drayson, is a freshman in high school. He asked a girl out to the 7th grade dance 2 years ago, shortly after they started dating and dated for a bit over a year. Unfortunately, she was in a car crash with a family friend last summer and didn't make it. Her parents and Drayson have stayed in touch, and he's got some of her stuff. It's been tough on him, but Drayson has amazing friends who have helped him get through this. Drayson's girlfriend was Sri Lankan. While she and her parents were born in the U.S., her grandparents were not, and she had connections to her heritage. Both she and Drayson loved sports, so they would watch cricket together, and sometimes he'd go over to her house and eat traditional foods. She brought him for the 8th grade dance last year and asked him to wear the Sri Lanka flag cufflinks she saw online. He agreed to it, and it's something he cherishes as a gift from her. Note, our family is not Sri Lankan. Drayson has quite a few gifts from her, including clothes, but these cufflinks are the only thing that would be appropriate to wear at a wedding. As the wedding is approaching, we decided to start going suit shopping. Drayson found a suit he liked. We got it tailored and got the ready version last week. Drayson is a very confident person and felt good about the suit and even posted some photos to Instagram. On Sunday, we were at dinner at our parents' house. My sister and her fiance were there, and he asked if they wanted to see his fit. They agreed to see what he was wearing to the wedding. I could see my sister's face change while looking at him, and she shortly asked to see me in private. She asked if he could not wear those cufflinks because they didn't match her wedding aesthetic. When I asked her to elaborate, all she said was that she was going for a traditional theme. And when I nudged her, she said she didn't think the cufflinks matched a traditional American wedding and said she didn't want anything that could cause people discomfort. Shortly after that, we left, and I spoke about it with my husband, who agreed that her request was ridiculous. We texted her, saying he would be wearing them, and if he couldn't, we wouldn't attend. She texted our parents and siblings, and it caused a mess. Some of our family is siding with us, but others are saying because it's her wedding, we should respect her rules. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I guess not matching a traditional American wedding aesthetic is the new way to say I'm a racist idiot. How in God's name can a teen's cufflinks cause people discomfort? This is so insulting and unnecessary, and there is no such thing as doing whatever the bride and groom say just because it's their wedding when they're being idiots. I would die on this hill, and just about any hill that involves someone telling me what jewelry I'm allowed to wear. I am not a native English speaker, and reading this I thought, cufflinks are those small things on suits you hardly see, right? Then I thought, but why would she make such a big deal out of it? So I Googled it, and I was right. Cufflinks are those small things on suits. Why are people fighting over a teenager wearing such small, barely noticeable things? He knows they're there, and they give him emotional support, so he should wear them because he likes them. But any other person has to almost sniff his hands to notice the cuffs. So, not the idiot, OP. It is a shame your sister's making a big deal out of it. I am a native English speaker, and I still wondered. I am thinking about the same cufflinks here, right? That's ridiculous. Buy him matching socks. OP, your sister is undoubtedly a bridezilla who looks at cufflinks on a young man, not in the wedding party. She clearly has too much time on her hands. I live near my college with 2 roommates in an apartment, Emily and Kate. We're all 20s and female. The conflict is mainly between Emily and me. So, for context, my mom and I call each other every day, and usually a couple of times a day. It's nothing major. I call her when I'm walking back from one of my classes. She calls me when she's making lunch. I call her before I go to bed, etc. The calls combined aren't ever more than 30 minutes, and it's mainly just to check in with each other in our spare time. She doesn't go crazy if I don't call at all. She just assumes I'm busy, and we text each other good night. My roommate, Emily, always had something to say about it, and I always brushed it off because she's also my friend, so I just assumed it was her being annoying for fun. Anyway, she tells me, "It's really weird you still call your mom every day. It's like you have some unresolved issues or something." I look at her and point out she hasn't spoken to her parents since we've been back in school from winter break and hasn't seen them in over 3 months. I say, if anything, you might have some mommy issues since you've been ignoring her for 3 months now. Now, both she and Kate, who has always been closer to Emily than me, are saying that I overstepped, and people can have different relationships with their parents. But in my head, if they say that, she doesn't have to comment that I call my mom too much. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. They opened the door to this convo by commenting on your relationship with your mother. It's hypocritical for them to be upset when you comment on her relationship with her mother. And I'm no therapist, but it sure sounds like your relationship with your mom is healthier than Emily's for sure. If I didn't talk to my parents for about 3 weeks, they would call me to make sure I wasn't dead or arrested. 3 months is nuts. Agree. Emily definitely isn't fine with that low amount of contact because she just would have gone about her day with a different strokes mindset. Instead, she went out of her way to try to convince OP that her closeness with her mom is wrong and that something's wrong with her and to be more like her. Emily wants OP's relationship with her mom to mirror her own so she can be convinced her own lack of relationship with her parents is right, so she doesn't have to feel bad about it. It's actually sad, since she could easily use that energy to get their relationship to a level of contact that actually makes her happy. Instead, she's just trying to convince the rest of the world that they are wrong and she's right and normal. Not the idiot, and you're lucky to have a relationship like that with your mom. I have a twin sister, 18, who got pregnant a few months ago with her boyfriend. She's always been more of the social party type of girl, whereas I focus on my academics. Recently, whenever I have an academic achievement to announce to my family, she throws a fit and makes everyone focus on consoling her. I recently got accepted into an Ivy League university and plan to tell my family during dinner. My parents were excited as soon as I broke the news, but my sister began tearing up. She started crying about how she didn't even get accepted into any colleges and had to take care of her child and how tough her situation was. My parents immediately jumped to console her. I was seriously sick of her BS. I told her that she's not a victim, and I'd really appreciate it if she'd stop being such a miserable witch whenever I'm trying to share good news. I also said the world doesn't revolve around her just because she's a pregnant teen. She started screaming and going hysterical at this, and my parents were mad at me too. Am I the idiot? Edit. Unplanned pregnancy, but now she wants to carry it to term. If she can't control her hysteria, she can at least excuse herself to the bathroom to cry. It's like she has to make every one of my celebratory moments about her. I can't even enjoy my parents being proud of me for 2 seconds before she throws a fit and whines about her poor life choices. Not the idiot. It sounds like she got a heaping spoonful of had it coming with extra salt. And what does she mean that she didn't even get accepted into any colleges? There are thousands of colleges where you don't have to get in. You simply go register for classes. In the future, though, I would recommend the high road, or at least some calm sarcasm. Hey, I have some exciting news about making the dean's list. Did you want to have a temper tantrum ready about morning sickness or something? I'm with you on this one. She can suck it up and be happy for your achievements. Everything isn't about her, and she's going to find that out when the baby arrives, because suddenly everyone will be focused on the baby and not her. Seems like your family's enabling her too. She's probably regretting the choices she made and is jealous of everything you're accomplishing. Unfortunately, there's no rewind button in life, and if she's going to be a mother, she needs to get beyond the whole woe is me attitude, because that doesn't fly in the real world, especially with the added responsibility of having kids. Congratulations, OP. How exciting for you. I'm sorry your moment got scuppered. You deserve to be celebrated.